The only way I can get points. The
Just send them all to Bruce's house.
Yeah. No, I think Michael was
Yes.
sending to himself, and he was judge, jury, and everything.
So Don, a little bit of the background on that, and thank you for joining tonight, and thank you for attending.
Sure.
The background on that is that when we meet in person, when we have the competitions, the categories are, as you saw in the entry form, print and digital. And so typically we try and encourage members to submit print images, and that just one, it's kind of nice to print, to bring them, to see them in real life and that. So we try and encourage members to submit some prints in those competitions, but then we also have the digital categories in that. So, when we're in person, obviously we can't do the prints here right now. We just haven't changed the format, the submission form, to delete those out, just kind of leaving that live for when we can get back in person and do prints as part of the competition. So that's some of the background on that, is that once we're in meeting in person, in fact, Darren had just asked that same question a few minutes ago, will we be getting back to being able to do, prints as part of our competition also? And I'm hoping that our answer is yes to that. So.
And that's helpful. Thank you. Is there a size of print that you guys are usually looking for when it's in person?
They can be any size. We in the past, we had them limited up to, say, 18 by 12. I'm trying to remember if we relaxed that from there.
I think we relaxed it a little bit for the panos.
Right.
Because that was kind of hard 18 was kind of small for panos. I think
that's
the
right.
minimum is what, 8 by 10 minimum?
That sounds right.
Something
Yeah.
Like
usually
that.
we wouldn't see anything. Yeah. Usually we wouldn't see anything smaller than that. It was pretty, and say like an 18 by 12 or, 16 by 12.
20.
16 by 20, those are kind of the range, and they just can't be framed. You can have them, mounted on, say, paperboard or something like that. They just couldn't come in with, like a wood frame and that. So.
Yeah. So matted would be okay, but not framed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of bin stock that's that, 8 by 12 size, but I could see you wouldn't want to go much smaller than that, because if you're sitting in a room with showing that, unless you pass it around, I guess it might be kind of hard to see up front.
So what we do is, I was going to say, but right before the meeting, what we do is people usually will get there about 15, 20 minutes beforehand, and we'll have them, that all the prints will be set out. In fact, if you enter a print, one of the ideas is that you bring it there at least 15, 20 minutes before the actual, say, 7 o'clock meeting time. Go through and you can go in and inspect them closely, and then that way you can put together your I'll say your scores for the ones on the prints ahead of time, and then we bring them up and the judge will give the feedback and the critique on them as it comes up. We'll have that up in the front of the room. We have separate lights. We have a separate display for those, each one as they come up. But to your point, you do get to go and the judge also gets to go and inspect them closely before the actual meeting starts.
Okay.
Right. So one of the things with not bringing in images that are too small is that at that point it gets hard to evaluate the quality of the print, the pixelation, and that type of stuff that might have happened when you went to JPEG, as opposed to if you're trying to compare a 5 by 7 for print quality to a 12 by 18. That's pretty difficult.
Yep.
You can hide a lot of blur in a 5 by in a small image.
Yep.
All right. So let's see here. We are a little bit after 7. It looks like we have a good size audience in that. So I'll go ahead and kick things off. Just a couple real quick announcements, and then we'll get on to the actual reviewing of the images in that. Once again, thanks everybody for attending this now already our, hard to believe, 3rd meeting of 2021. Again, obviously we're still going through some of the challenges that we have with COVID that we've had since, I guess, last March. hoping that later on this year we'll be able to, meet in person, and just kind of we're talking about having in-person meetings, presentations, competitions, and these type of meetings, the exhibitions. So far, for those who haven't been to some of these meetings, we have had pretty good luck here with the Zoom platform, at least being able to have presentations and some of our other types of meetings, such as these exhibitions. Another thing that we are talking about, with the board and so forth, and we're going to try and come out here with a little bit more details on this pretty soon. But the thought is that, as the weather starts to improve and become a little bit more dependable, that maybe we can get outdoors and maybe, again, kind of on a limited basis, whether it be photo shoots, photo walks, maybe downtown, other kind of outdoor venues in that, where we can, maintain distance and that sort of thing. Starting to feel like something like that should be fairly safe. So maybe we start doing some of that here in the early spring into summer, again, in advance of actually being able to meet indoors and have other types of workshops and that sort of thing later on. Just a couple of other quick announcements and some other upcoming events that we've got. The next meeting that we have is February 17th. That is going to be color management. Joe Klosek is the presenter for that one. March 3rd is our competition night. We had just a real quick definition of what this is going to be a themed competition. And we're going to go with motion and still life, kind of opposite ends of the spectrum there. But again, we'll have a little bit more detail that will come out as far as, what would be considered motion and what would be considered still life. I think we all kind of have a pretty good idea as far as what those mean, but we'll get a little bit more information on that here in the next week or so. And that, again, is the first Wednesday of March. That's March 3rd. And so more information, and we'll have some, a link in that to the meeting coming out shortly. March 17th, we have a presentation on compositing. That's Dale Ralph. I don't know if you've seen her work. I think we included a link to her website out on that last email, but she has some really interesting things that she does with compositing people into some really interesting scenes. So we'll all have a chance to learn how she does that. Again, that's March 17th. April 7th, we have another one of these exhibition nights. April 21st, we have a presentation from Alice Bender, and that's going to be on Impressionist photography, Impressionism. May 5th is another competition night. That one will be open, so there's not a theme to that. You're welcome to submit anything for that competition. Again, that's May 5th. Bringing that out a couple more meetings. May 19th, we have Glenn Randall. He's going to be doing a presentation on photographing meteor showers. I believe he's got a workshop in August when the Perseid meteor shower comes out. So he's going to kind of go over some of what he looks for in his May 19th presentation. June 2nd is another exhibition night. And then on June 16th, we have Joseph Roybal, who's giving a presentation also in color and how he looks for color and blending color and that into some of his landscape photography. We do have other presentations that we're lining up for the second half of the year, but just wanted to, again, quickly go over some of what we have here in the first half of the year. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and Bruce has downloaded the images. So Bruce, whenever you're ready, we'll let you go ahead and roll with those.
Okay.
And before you get to that, I'll see if anybody else has any questions or anything else that they'd like to bring up ahead of time. All right.
Lots of
If
cricket.
not, we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and have Bruce. And for those who haven't been, again, I want to again thank you, some of the new members for coming. For those who haven't been to one of these exhibition nights, the idea is we'll bring up image after image, and then whoever is the photographer on that image, you're welcome to give a couple of quick sound bites as far as what the scene was, what it meant to you, maybe where you were, what if there was anything specific to your processing or something like that that you'd like to highlight. And then with that, we'll open it up, and other members can give, some of their thoughts, ideas, what they really like about it. If there's anything that they see on there that you may want to think about, as far as if they feel that there's some way of improving upon it, whether it's processing and so forth. So with that, Bruce, we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay, so here's our first image, full screen. I'll just flash this up. This one is Larry Johnson. So Larry, if you want to make any comments about it or questions? Oops, sorry guys. You guys can see the image, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking it was pretty quiet. I thought, uh-oh, maybe they don't see what I see.
And again, it's as far as the photographer, it's optional as far as giving some.
Yeah, I guess, Larry, if you're, I know you're on. Did you have any questions or comments for us?
Is he muted?
Could be.
Oh, Larry sent something.
Oh, he's got some. He has some comments here in the chat. I'll read them real quick. He says coastal grass was shot as a light rain started, extreme lower edge of Oregon.
It looks like Myers Beach or Humbug State Park area.
Very nice.
Okay. All
Has a
right.
lot of mood.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I like the again a interesting foreground, and then in the middle ground you have the waves. Some again the motion and that associated with that. Nice clouds structure with the rocks in behind there. I think somebody said something about the mood. I like that cloudy that scene that looks like it'd be nice, quiet, and peaceful there.
Yeah, it says I was hoping to head back in April with my real gear. This was a scouting.
Yeah, I also like the color harmony of the blue and yellow grasses with the blue sky and the ocean colors there.
Is the horizon level or is it just my eyes? It looks like it's tilting down to the right.
It does look that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be straightened a little bit, but not much.
Right here. Maybe just a little. That was 0.47, so maybe just a hair.
So Darren, what are your thoughts about that amount of grass in the foreground? Less, or is that good, or is that the subject, or what?
So for me personally, it's funny because, having grown up there and lived on the beach almost my entire life, I always love the shots with the grasses in the foregrounds. I absolutely love it because I feel like it adds another layer or it adds more depth to the image. However, I never take them myself, but that's beside the point. But on this image particularly, if it were mine, I would crop up so that the empty spots in the foreground were gone, just right above there.
There and there.
Yeah, I would get rid of those two spots and then call it good. That way you got a good solid foreground and your eyes aren't, like my eyes keep jumping down to those empty spots.
This one here, and yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask if you would try to fill those in or crop
No,
it. So
that would be so hard because if you were to print it anything over an 8x10, there's no way you could make those grasses all align. Like even, there's just no way. I mean, I would crop it up from the bottom and I might crop it down just a hair and make it a little bit of a pano.
It's a nice image.
Yeah, much better.
So maybe, oops, I got it locked.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
Yeah, that would look good over somebody's couch or something. That's,
Yeah, you're right on the rule of thirds there too, I think. Cop
Did you
down like,
expect anything less from me, Phil?
No. glad to see you're paying attention, Bruce.
Yeah, you still have, yeah, because the horizon line still isn't right dead down the middle. It's like right up at that. Yeah, that looks great.
So Bruce, straighten that thing.
Well, we did, but we can sure do it again. Right about here. Oops. Maybe just a hair, I guess.
yeah, that's better. And one other thing on something like this, and this is totally subjective, is that this looks like it was taken with a very fast shutter speed. I would guess somewhere above 100 or above 250th of a second. On a scene like this, what I would try to do is maybe try to get down to like a quarter of a second or even an eighth or a sixth of a second, just to get a little bit more. You won't lose the detail in the water because you're far enough away from it, but just to get a little bit of motion in it.
I suspect if he was with the scouts, he didn't have a tripod with him.
Oh, I didn't know what he was.
He said it was a scouting trip, so he was not.
Oh, it could have been. I'm sorry. I'm a scout leader, or was a scout leader. So
But I will say that I do like the curling wave that's dead center because the water has broken over it. And so that adds something as well. But I also, I when I'm out shooting, I always take one that's similar to this, and then I'll also take another one where there's a little bit longer of a shutter speed to introduce some motion in it.
You could spend some time there creating a lot of different images.
Oh,
yeah.
I have.
Great, thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this one is by Ray Callow.
Nice.
That's very nice.
Very nice.
How many shots?
It's just one.
Oh,
Wow.
I mean, I usually go to this particular area during, there's like 3 different times during the year that the Elitch will have fireworks.
hmm.
So just to kind of just fine tune what I'm doing and experiment a little bit more.
That's pretty cool. What year? When did you take? Was that this year or last year or year before?
That was 2019.
2019.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, it was like a probably 10 or 15 second exposure.
Let's see.
Wow.
You must have timed it so that the last 1 second was when the fireworks went off.
No, actually what I was doing, and this is something that I experimented with, just trying to see the effect that I would have. I open up the shutter and then I'll place something black in front of the lens and I'll keep the shutter open and then I'll just pull the card or whatever I'm using to block the lens every so often, so it'll pick up different bursts of the fireworks.
Yeah. But what I was
Ah,
kind of getting at was that if you had opened up your shutter and the fireworks went off at the very beginning, then you would have seen trailing down throughout the rest of the exposure. So by being at the end, then the exposure would shut off after a second or whatever. So, but if you're doing a black card during the exposure, that explains why the fireworks have only went out so far.
Yeah.
Very nice.
yeah, that's really, and then with that, I saw that you had the aperture like at f14, so you get the kind of the star or the light burst effect on a couple of those light stem.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So Ray, did you have to burn down the clouds a little bit above the fireworks?
No, I brought them up a little bit. I mean, because I was blocking the light coming in, I would hold it for so many seconds, then I would pull up the card, and then I would block it again. That way I can get different bursts of the fireworks. The sky was pretty dark, so I had to bring it up.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, right exactly above the fireworks might be a little bit, it's not overexposed.
No,
by
that's
any extent,
smoke.
but it might be more dramatic if it was a little bit darker, like on the sides.
Oh, okay.
I mean, some of that's going to be the glow from those fireworks, depending on how close the clouds were.
Yeah, I mean, right above the fireworks, so
Yeah.
that's the smoke from the fireworks.
But he
Where
was
had you
saying he was
positioned yourself?
actually- he was-
Where were you
There-
standing?
There is a office complex that's directly across from there. It's on the opposite side of 25.
Right. Diamond
Is that
Hill?
Diamond Hill?
Yeah, Diamond Hill.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called, but I mean, that's where I normally always go, but last year, this particular day, they're not trimming down the trees and everything, so it's starting to grow up above to where it's blocking some of the view.
Hmm,
And I
that's
don't
too
know
bad.
If it's that way still, I'm hoping that there'll be fireworks this year so I can go ahead and go back out there.
Dealich is even open these days?
It wasn't last year, but
Gone?
of course, they're talking about doing something this year, but we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, I thought that was gonna be an office complex or apartments, and they were tearing it down and Elitch's was moving.
Oh, really?
Yeah. that's what
Oh.
Huh. Because I've been on their website. I mean, this was last year, and they keep talking about, we'll be back soon and all that stuff.
I know they'll be back, but I'm just not sure it's gonna be in that location.
Yeah, Dave's right. They're gonna build two 30-story buildings or something like that.
Over on that property?
Yeah.
Well, shoot.
Ray, I thought you framed those fireworks perfectly in between the tower there at Elitch's and the building on the left. I mean, it's just nearly perfectly centered. It's such a pleasing composition.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it has a lot of impact.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's really nice.
All right, let's go to the next one. Tom Haywood, is he on? I didn't see him on the thing.
And he had shot me a message that he was having internet issues, so wasn't able to get through, but wanted to, I let him know that we were recording it so he could check it later.
Okay, well then we'll say mean things about him since he's not on there.
I think this is he's working for a client, I think up in Broomfield or something, and I think he's been posting just random shots of while he's been out in the morning, but I don't know if this is actually for the client or not.
I really like that the colors. It was very cool, and I love that
Guys, great.
like the downtown buildings are spaced in between the planes. But if I were going to crop this, I might cut off that bottom left corner where it looks like I don't know, looks like a porta potty there or something, and then try to include the plane on the right, or because if you cut it off too much, then you lose the downtown part.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
I think this is one of those images that would have been better composed in the camera than try to do it now.
I think so. I mean, I wouldn't have cut off that plane. I would have left a lot more of it. But for me, I have a hard time with the fence really interfering with the planes that
I
are
think
parked there.
The planes and the sunset would have been a great shot. I don't think you needed the tree and the fence in there.
And if you did,
Yeah.
to Elaine's point, you should get on a ladder
Yeah,
You have a different point of view so that you can pretty much eliminate a lot of that.
that's what I was thinking. Not so much cropping the fence because then you lose everything, but yeah, a higher perspective.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's the ability to get up close to the fence and actually set the although I guess then
Yeah.
you don't have the perspective of, you'd only be able to get a couple of those planes in the scene if you were up there, unless you came in from a different angle or something, but I like the colors and the way that they're reflecting on the planes and
Oh,
all
yeah.
of that of it. It looks
Beautiful.
Oh,
really nice.
yeah, it's beautiful.
It's
Mhm.
also, it's now that I'm looking at this, it's also possible that he used the fence as a decoy so you wouldn't see the orange cones.
Yeah. A lot of orange cones.
Oh, there's lots of orange cones, but
Yeah.
that's an airport. I mean, that's to be expected.
Yeah, that's where you learn your clone tools. And I mean, I'm all for shooting natural scenes, but there's some things that, I mean, let's just face it, any images will look better without orange safety cones in them.
Okay.
You know, to be honest with you, with the rest of the colors in the scene, they don't stand out as much as if it would be like mid-afternoon and you
Right.
had a bright blue sky with these orange cones. They kind of blend in for me. But yeah, you know.
And it's likely he boosted the magenta in the color anyway, so it is tinged that color. The
Sure.
cones are colorized a little bit.
Come on, Tom, where are you at? You got to defend yourself.
It's pretty.
This is Ray's.
Yeah, this is Rocky Mountain National Park. A couple of years ago, and the sun was breaking through some of the clouds to illuminate on the elk. And of course, he's making known that he wants to do what nature calls him to do.
Does he got to go to the bathroom?
No, something a little bit more substantial.
Oh, well, he's just hanging out with his son or daughter. What? Oh, he wants to howl at the moon.
Yeah, there you go.
Got it. I would just, well,
I like the light in his eye.
so does she. Oh, boy.
Oh boy.
You guys are.
There's
Yeah.
actually a big herd of elk in this particular field. And I just, tightened my my composition, and then I cropped in a little bit just to have the two of them.
Did you try a version that was square cropped?
No, I mean, I wanted to leave a little bit of room on the right-hand side, which I don't know if that really makes any difference.
Trying to decide whether I like the negative space or not. I certainly gives them a place to go and a counterbalance to the photo, but without playing with it, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we know it needs some negative space. How much? Because you don't want to crowd the animals in the image. At the you don't want to get too close to the edge with the horns and with her backside.
Be careful, because I'm on video. And you're- Yeah,
Put your pants on.
mine are not. We just started.
I just like I like the subtle tones
You got in, okay.
across the whole image. It's really nice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this was close to sunset.
Good light.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Jim Brown Boss. Looks like his time flies.
Yeah, this was years ago. I was up fishing and just grabbed a caddis. You can see the green egg sac on it. Shooting with a macro lens, and so my depth of field was maybe 0.5 millimeter. And So, you know, back then I didn't know anything about focus stacking. I wouldn't be able to do it with my finger anyway. But when I was looking at it just quickly, I thought, God, there's a little orange dot on the leg. What is that? And then when I finally got it loaded up on the computer, I saw Mike was hitching a ride there. So it was kind of an interesting shot. So,
That's pretty good for being handheld.
I
Right?
think I took quite a
Literally.
few to get one. So
Yeah.
my
Literal
priority was fishing
handheld.
and not shooting pictures. So
I just can't, the fact that it's being held by your fingers, that's, you know, there's, at least they should be darkened down so it's not in competition.
I think I did even darken them down some. It was even brighter on my fingers. There's more reflection on the pattern and all.
For vignetting, the lower right to balance out to the left side, vignetting.
Yeah, that would help too. So yeah, I don't think it's, you know, real high quality photograph. It was interesting getting the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting look. That's
Bruce, just for grins, why don't you take the white balance tool and click on something medium gray in there? I'm curious to see what the white balance turns out to be.
Where would you like me to go, sir?
A little bit to your left, Bruce. Kind of near his leg. There's some gray in there.
there's some gray in there. Yeah.
Right there?
Keep going.
Keep going to your left.
There you, oh,
Up,
No, up, the
Up,
lighter
up, up,
gray,
up, up,
lighter
up, up, up.
gray.
there.
There.
up, left. There you go, somewhere in there.
Then the green sack thing is really green then.
Yeah, that helps neutralize some of the color.
Did you catch fish that day?
Got a bunch. Yeah, it was a great caddisatch. So
Nice. I do some of the fly fishing. I tie the flies and built a few fly rods in my time too. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
All right. Mark Feldman.
Every image with a snake should come with a warning. Just saying.
That green snake. He's a neon snake.
Oh,
With marks on the
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I struggle with snakes. Oh.
Nice bright colors. I like that. It comes right at you.
He's not on the call, so
Who was this?
Mark Feldman is what it shows.
Okay.
It just looks like when he tone curved the thing and the green and the shadows just, I mean, I guess it doesn't bother me that the shadows are there, but it just picked up everything from the snake down to the, you know, it just looks like a opposite on the color wheel toning curve and, you know, reddish pink and then green, and then it just really absorbed the stuff in the shadows. I wonder if there's a way to, you know, make them just a tinge grayer. I know that's the look, but it just seems to match the snake too much.
Yeah, this area.
Now, I personally, I would prefer to see the snake leading into the image, or maybe rotate it so that, yeah, that doesn't work.
It's a good idea.
But
Yeah, I
that's
know what you
just-
mean, Elaine, because if you had, you know, the way you read things, positive energy is coming from the bottom left up to the top right. So it, you know, I guess it's on purposely slows you down, but in terms of motion, it's the wrong direction. But then again, you wouldn't see the snake's face going away to the top right. So
You'd have to recompose recompose the scene for that purpose. Because I think it's very well composed. But since rotating the image doesn't work, you would almost have to rotate the scene,
Ooh,
if that
sorry.
makes sense. So you would have to shoot it with the tail of the snake in your lower left
Right.
corner, moving, moving up to the upper right.
And then you'd have to direct the snake to turn its face towards the camera right at the top.
Well, I'm not sure he's a real snake. That would be my.
I wonder what that was for. It's pretty cool.
Looks like it ought to be a commercial, an
Right.
advertisement or something.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love the concept, the rose petals with the snake. Yeah, that's awesome.
The colors.
You're almost there, Bruce.
Yeah, I was trying. I just can't. quite
It's the
There you go.
perspective. So because it was shot kind of looking down, it's not gonna. This is a little bit better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so
For me.
too, because the energy's a lot better. But it's clearly a color theory thing where it's just opposites on the color wheel. So in terms of an ad, it's brilliant. I
Yeah.
like it.
Mhm.
All right, well, let's go to the next one. Don Gardner. Mama Fox. I didn't see Don on here, so.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's in there.
yep.
Is that your pet, Don?
It looks like it, huh?
Yeah.
I've been trying to chase down fox for a couple of years. For some reason, I don't have a very good luck of finding fox, but this is up in Breckenridge, and I actually wasn't looking for fox there, and I stumbled across this mama fox, and she had about 5 kits around her, and it's in kind of an abandoned lot, if you will. It's got lots of wood scrap and things like that. And she was quite cooperative as far as getting her picture taken.
Well, that's
That is
pretty
a
good.
great shot.
Yeah, nice, real good focus there on the face and the light that's right in the right spot, right there on the face, the eyes, and with the engagement with the fox looking right at you. I like that.
Yeah.
Looks like she's contemplating whether or not she likes you.
Yeah.
I have lots of pictures of her in particular because she was the kits, the little ones were a little more moving around and jumping around and harder to get a good picture of, but she was very cooperative.
He was a good model.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you try a closer crop at all?
No, then that's not a bad idea to kind of crop in a little more.
Yeah, I don't know. My personal opinion. I don't think the bottom really adds anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there was a comment here on the chat thing that Larry had said too, maybe a tighter crop as a portrait there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she has such a beautiful face, and the light on her face is so fantastic that you really just, and the eyes are so incredibly sharp. Yeah, you just want to, I mean, drill right into it.
Yeah. No, that's nice. That's a good
Good.
idea.
Although with
That
this crop-
darkening
with this
in the-
crop, I noticed the bright areas,
Yeah.
a little orangey bright areas a little bit more. So you probably want
Right.
You could almost do a vertical crop on it too for something a little bit different to match, like, because she has a slender face and the way her ears kind of point up. It's just
I had to
nice.
work on some of the bright areas already in Photoshop, so
Bruce,
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Bruce, why don't you take that edit you just did and color it green at the bottom there? We'll go to that one little box, that envelope, and no, keep going down to the right. There you go. Click on it. Let's make them green.
This color green, can we get a,
Just click it. No, click the eyedropper in the, yeah. There you go. Maybe that even works.
I wonder about darkening it even more.
Yeah, take the dark, yeah, exposure down.
Well, just the bright area in the background.
I honestly, I would just clone that log all the way across.
This one here.
Yep. I mean, you don't have to do it right now or through Photoshop, but that's how I would get rid of it.
Yeah. Lightroom's not going to do a very good job of it.
Yeah.
Right, Lightroom, yeah.
Yeah, Photoshop, I think you could do a better job, but I agree.
Okay.
Lots of ways to go there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, lots of ways.
This one.
Yeah, great. Yeah, great photo.
This must be a Tom. Let me see.
Probably. It's those same planes.
Same morning.
Yep, Tom.
Yep.
Color is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I need them to send me that sky. I could use that sky.
I bet he's got a little bit of a long exposure on it for those, with that cloud movement. What do you think?
Doesn't
What's
particularly script his stuff out, so it's hard to say.
Oh, okay.
You definitely could clone a few lights out. The taxiway lights.
You probably want to take the yellow things over by the propane tank and
Yeah.
dull them down saturation wise too.
Oh, I wonder.
Yeah, I wonder what he's shooting all those for.
Airport.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it's a picture for the airport, then certainly they want that hangar
Right.
in the photo.
Right. If that's part of who the client is or whatever, because otherwise, I wonder if there's a way then to angle yourself if you were to go over to the left, get the flat irons, get the mountains, and still get some of that stuff back there, but just without the hangar, without the building in there.
Where is that? Is that Broomfield?
Yes.
Yeah, looks like Broomfield.
I'm talking on mute. That's the Broomfield Airport. I'm kind of familiar with it. He probably couldn't get a better angle because he was going to get too close to taxiways or runways, that kind of stuff, and he might have been a people hazard. But considering where he is, I'm assuming that he's probably got permission either from the airport or the city, probably both, to stand where he is. Unless he was shooting from the outside with a long lens, but I don't think you'd get it.
I like that compression. Really, bringing those mountains in is really, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The layers of the flat irons there, and then the white on the peaks, and then the clouds. It's really pretty.
Yeah, it is.
Peter.
Would you Photoshop out the whatever you call it? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say this picture, I have a love-hate relationship with it. I kind of love what I caught, but I can't seem to do anything with the photo that really complements it. It's kind of weird because both subjects are almost vertically above each other. So like to give a little negative space to one side or the other felt awkward. So about the best I could come up with was a square crop, but I'm not a huge fan of it. So looking for feedback. And it was one of those deals where I really was out there photographing buffalo, and then this deer kind of shot across at the last moment. I caught it out of my eye and just quickly pointed and hoped I got some decent focus on it, and had some decent luck catching them.
I totally agree that with the two of them being right at, on top of each other type of a view.
Yeah, it was very awkward.
That's the hard part.
So
This is at the Arsenal.
yeah, it was. It's almost like I want to put a boundary around one of the two and like pull them pull them.
What about if
out
you
of the photo.
vignetted all the way around and kind of made it circular or through a scope or something.
Oh,
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
There you go.
I'll put some crosshairs on it.
Exactly.
And you got yourself a winner. Send it into Honey Magazine and call it good.
Yeah.
Clone in a prairie dog and an owl and
Take it to the hunting and fishing show and sell them by the dozens.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
You can put bird on the
I'm not a very
Oh,
good
you gotta-
dog, but I can try. How's that?
You're gonna
I like it.
moose.
Actually, you know what we can do is we can make them really, really small, print them, and you can put them on the end of somebody's scope.
Yeah.
So I look through, they see this. I don't know. It was kind of a fun photo, but I was curious on what people's take would be on possible things to do with it, because it's just an awkward feel to it. I'm wondering if maybe
Sorry.
you also kind of have them facing the wrong way, maybe face mirroring the photo, having them face the other direction. Doesn't really fix the problem, but
I think your biggest problem is this isn't looking at you and you got its ass in the picture, and
yeah.
as they say in wildlife photography, no butts, right? So
Well,
it's
this was very like a rude interruption, and that's kind of, you know, hence the title, just passing through. Pardon me.
All right.
You could make the buffalo, well, no, because he's not in focus. Never mind. This is a good picture.
Yeah,
Reno.
this one for me was just a practice picture in hopes of one day that a buffalo will walk towards me instead of away from me.
Pretty good. I'd take it as a practice. Where was that at, Carino?
At the Daniels Park.
Daniels Park?
okay.
Ah. I like the
Yes.
steam coming off of the front.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always like
yeah,
the
it's really
breath
nice.
In the
coming
snow.
off of them.
I just
I
wish
wonder
you
how that
had
would
a
look
better-
black and
better
white.
angle.
How'd that look in black and white? Let's see.
Yeah. You know, there's a new function in Photoshop where you can like turn people's faces and change their expressions and stuff. I wonder if you can turn his head towards you.
Oh, wow. Good idea.
I have no idea what it is or how to use it, but I saw it on
Yeah.
a what's new in Photoshop thing.
Yeah,
recently.
and then if you put another model with lipstick and eyeliner, you could make the buffalo have a whole new look.
Pay no attention to those people, Carino. I like it.
That's right.
You
What do
know,
we know?
Karina, because of its bright white snow, your vignette really shows up.
Yeah, right here.
Just too much.
Yeah. You can see the edges are, yeah, I was trying to figure out if that was vignetting from the lens or, but it's definitely too much.
So what do you do with something like that to leave this? You just don't put no vignette in the snow area?
Or real light.
I just do my vignette by just a darkening brush. Just put it where you want it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you really wanted to, you could just do a gradient filter on the top left and the top right and leave the snow as is, or just combine it with just a light, very light vignette. If I'm over 11, it's always showing up on the Lightroom, but
Personally, I might skip the vignette on the entire image and do a reverse just around the buffalo to make him a little bit lighter and bring him out, because your background is kind of dark to start with,
Mhm.
and that might help give you a little separation.
That's a good idea.
Go this way with it.
No. You got to put it on the buffalo. Yeah, so invert your radial filter.
Okay.
Oh no, not a vignette, a radial filter.
Oh, radio filter. Okay.
Mm, mm.
All right. Jim, stand by.
Yeah, this was shot by candlelight, Christmas Eve. So all the light was from the candle. So just kind of fired away at my grandson. So.
Cute.
Waiting
Great
for
expression.
And so the catch light in that is just off of the candle. It's
Yeah, there were some candles
It's-
to the right
Nice.
of me also. So that's what was lighting his face. So.
Nice glow.
Nice. Yeah.
yeah, it's good.
Thanks.
what ISO were you at here? Oops. 2000, that's not too bad.
Is the image a little soft?
It might be the the left eye is definitely sharp. The right eye, I guess. But there's all depth of field.
And that's, yeah, f2.8 and probably pretty close in. Because it's not soft off of motion, like you say, because you have the one eye is really nice and sharp.
He was only, a foot and a half, 2 feet away from me. So
Yeah.
top of me.
Nice. Great.
Yeah, this was Eagle Mare Trail. I think it's in Silverthorne. And I was just hiking, came to this spot where the light started shining through, illuminating the aspen trees and everything.
I like the pattern on that tree to the left. That's pretty kind of interesting pattern.
Yeah, there's a big difference from the raw image to the finished product.
I wonder, but a little bit more contrast would help differentiate the trail from the trees, or
I actually lightened the trail to kind of give you kind of a leading line type of deal.
Well, there's a little more contrast.
yeah.
Ooh, wrong one. Sorry.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah, if we got 42, I better pick up the pace here. This
Oh,
is from
yeah.
Dick York. I don't think, is Dick on the call? Let's see, Dick. No. Nice shot of the staircase in the church. Very cool, black and white. Michael Rhino. We can skip this one. That's got to be Stryker. Stryker is in here, and that is his toy box, right?
It is, yeah. Is that? Let's see. I think the crop. I have more of it showing down below, don't I? Or did I crop it that way? Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Because there's it's on a table. Yeah, so I was just playing around, trying to practice for Still Life is one of our competitions coming up. So I was just playing around, sort of practicing down in our basement. Yeah, those are some toys that are well used. He really loves those ropes. He tears those things apart. And so what I did was I just set up, I had one light off to my right, kind of like at an angle 45 degrees coming down. The basket is sitting on a dark table, and then I had a dark gray backdrop, which I added some texture. So when I look at it, I guess in my mind, I need something different on that table, so it isn't just everything all black. Give it a little bit more, I don't know if contrast is the right word, but just something to differentiate that table from the background, probably. But again, just something I was kind of playing around with, just haven't really done a whole lot of still life for this type of photography. So I was just experimenting and thought I'd see what the feedback was on it.
Really like it. I like the accent colors, the blue and the red, because it does pop it out from the dark background.
So I would, yeah, I like the colors. I think they're really well. I would, for your table, Michael, I would either go with something, just either put the basket on the floor in
Right.
front of the drop cloth so we don't see the table at all, or make the table very intentional instead of a black table
Right.
on a black background. The
Yeah,
other
yeah.
couple of things you might keep in mind, I think with still lighting, and you'd have to check online, I'm not 100% certain. I think they typically light from the left to the right. Since we read from the left to the right, you want your
Oh,
lighting
okay.
to
Okay.
go left to right.
Okay.
And I might give it just a hair bit of a more angle on the basket to give it a little bit of motion.
Got it. Got it.
So
Yep.
not,
Okay.
so that's
Yeah,
not
I
quite
turned it a
flat.
little bit, but
Yeah.
right.
I think it's horrible, Michael, and you should not enter it in any future contest.
That's the feedback I expected. So, but again, it was
Never,
and
never
thank you,
look at it
Elaine.
again.
And thank you, Elaine, because I know, Elaine, you have a lot of really good still life and a lot of really good food photos. So the input as far as the direction of the light is valuable, because I didn't know that. So
Did you just use a one light source there, Michael?
so I used one light. It was just one of the Godox lights. I did have it on I had a diffuser or a softbox on it, and I did have a white so I say white reflector. I didn't use like the silver side. I just used the white side that was over on the left, just to bounce a little bit of light into the shadows on that left side.
Yeah,
that's
in fact,
good.
I was going to
That's good.
say, just lightening up that other side
Okay.
with the reflector, but you already did it, so.
And maybe I
How
just wasn't. Yeah.
How far is your softbox from your basket?
Probably about 3 feet. It was I was fairly close in.
I would bring it in closer, because when you're
Okay.
you're lighting like that, the closer you are, the softer it's going to be.
Right.
Believe it
Yep.
or not.
Oh yeah, no, I know that from the classes and that. So
Yeah, right.
Okay.
We took our
Right.
classes.
Right. That's right.
All right. This one is.
Okay. No, thank you. Thanks.
Sherry
Thanks.
Peterson.
Yeah, so that was one where it was a surprise sunset. I wasn't out, turned around, saw it. I liked the way the clouds were framing the tree, but I wasn't sure like what else I could do with it. So I was kind of looking for feedback.
I like how the clouds are in the tree branches. It's kind of cool. So
Yeah,
I
it
wonder if,
reminds me of like a tree on fire, I guess, kind of, or like
yeah, or even just crop it really tight.
Yeah, it's a great. It gives a real nice silhouetted
Yeah.
effect. Would you? Let's see here. And like as far as like cropping, there's just a little bit of rooftops that were down at the
Sorry.
bottom.
Yep.
Right. Yep. You're right.
Yeah, so crop up a little from the bottom.
And not that they're not that those are problematic, but does it help just to give it a more true pure nature scene? If you cropped up a little bit, you're not losing any of the main part of the colors in the scene.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
What about the branches coming down from the top too? Are those,
Ask about that.
yeah.
Crop down just a little
There you
bit to
go.
where,
And bring it in from the left. For that little, get rid of that little guy. And I think somewhere right in there is great,
Okay, great.
especially with that silhouette.
And you could get rid of that one little branch there,
Yeah, you can clone some of
but it's still
yeah,
sticking out of the
once you
top.
get it to there, it's an easy fix
Yeah.
just to get that one step. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah.
Mhm. Thank you. Yeah, that helps.
Okay.
But great colors up in there. And what I like is not just that, like, if I'm looking at the clouds and kind of away from the tree, not just the, the nice orange and the purples and so forth. It's kind of that cloud up in that upper left that has that piece right there. I like the shape and colors
Yeah.
that one brings into it.
Yeah, I like that one too. And there was like this whole line of just pure like gray right above it. And I'm like, well, it was kind of cool, but just not enough to add it, I guess. But I did like that little one.
Mhm.
It's very
Yeah,
cool.
it's a neat color.
Okay. This is Larry Johnson.
That's just really pretty.
Nice.
I like the match you added to it. It's nice.
Yeah, what did you do that in? I noticed that during our last competition, probably a third of the images had a lot of borders. I was kind of curious what people are using for that.
Probably Lightroom or Photoshop.
Photoshop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Photoshop.
Photoshop.
Although there is a
Photoshop.
border one in Color Effects Pro, it's basic, but you have about 6 borders you can throw on there pretty easy. Looks like Larry.
And Larry does have a comment over in the chat. I'll read that real quick because that will help you shed some light on it too. He says, fence line and wildflowers was taken near Lower Cataract Lake, west of Green Mountain Reservoir. It was the last shot I took there before we loaded up and headed over to Shrine Pass. I should have stayed here longer and worked with the scene. There's potential for a lot better shot. And he said, I use canvas on Photoshop. The border is 3 steps.
Yep. So typically, so what you can do, Dave, is you go in and you add a small canvas to the image, and then you put a keystroke on it for that highlight line, and then you add another canvas, like about an inch or so, and that's how you can get that effect. I really love the angular lines of the flowers and the fence there. I think it's just really very sweet little composition.
Is this the last shot Larry took before packing up and going to Oregon?
I would tone the stroke down.
Like, you got a little shadow here.
No, the stroke around in the border.
Oh, the stroke too big?
The purple in the border. Yeah.
I know, I'm sure it's a match, or it was trying to match that, but you don't want your stroke pulling your eye out of the image. So it's a little bit brighter than the image. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just a little more subtle, but the colors are beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay,
Those purples and greens and yellows. Yeah.
Really nice.
This is Kathy's.
Yeah, this is mine, and I just like the image, and I liked that the way they're positioned, it draws you in. You can think about or guess what they're looking at. And so it's more how to make it a stronger image rather than just one I like. And the biggest problem is how to define her face away from that back wall. And I don't know if black and white would help, but just how to make it a stronger image. How to define their faces, or her face in particular. And maybe it can't be done.
You can go into Photoshop and you can darken those areas between her face and that background, or the texture, so that you can get more to where it really makes your face stand out.
Put it in black and white and see if that helps at all.
See, they're too much the same tone.
Okay.
But yeah, you can go in, like I say, right around her face, on hers and his, and you can darken around it and then take it out just so far so that it makes their faces pop.
Would you, like in Photoshop, do like a select mask?
You can, or you can just use a brush, just do a burn and just burn around there and just make sure that you don't leave any type of artifact Yeah, like that, but you know, you can take it in closer to her face.
I'm just doing something quick, but you can kind of see how that
Do you have, Kathy, do you have an image where it's not quite so tight?
No, I did crop it, but it's the only shot. I was standing really close to them, and I
Okay.
just looked, and they were just, you know, I just liked it. I
Yeah.
liked,
But you can see right there how it makes their faces pop.
yeah.
I was just thinking
gives-
like a little bit more space to their right, so you could kind of like get just a little
You
bit
could-
more of what they're,
Yeah.
you know.
If you reset it,
Working
you can
towards,
see
but-
the entire image.
Okay, let me try.
I don't want to do that for you.
I'll try it and see. No, that's the way
No,
it
yeah,
came
it
in.
doesn't.
Yeah, but I could play around with that.
Okay.
You could even go into Photoshop and just select that and drag it out with the transform tool.
This
yeah.
area here, yeah.
So
Or
you
just do
Yeah, just a little bit.
just do the that cloning feature in Photoshop.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
Depends on where.
I'm pushing
yeah.
us along a little bit because we got a lot of images left.
Oh, sorry, Bruce.
That's kind of cool. It's like a nice
Yeah, it is.
composite. No?
Yeah, that is neat.
It's an interesting composite.
Good thing we're not in our meeting. We'd be all worried it's snowing right now. It's a cool composite. All right.
Yeah, yeah, I like the colors and yeah.
Don Gardner?
Yeah, I took a whole series of these shots. Honestly, I was just trying different things and really I kind of put them off to the side. This was what, 2 years ago. But I came back to them and kind of got attracted to them, and I've got various shots of this, but I was just curious what people think, or they started to kind of appeal to me, but I wasn't sure if there was really anything here or not.
Well, this image is so strong that I just wonder if you just didn't do,
Just the one.
yeah, just the one.
The one, and yeah, the one is really in focus and the other ones are a little bit softer.
Right.
What if you did the two and then to the other one to the right and then eliminate that third one because it's kind of leaning out of the,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are all kinds of ways
Yeah.
to play with these, and I've got several of these with different combinations of characters and such. But yeah, I like the strong, contrasty visual of this, and the sun, especially on a cold day when you're just like wanting to soak in the sun when it comes out.
Yeah.
You might want to darken the background a little bit to keep the focus on the statues.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually like the three, but that's just me. But like what everybody's saying, I mean, there's a lot you can do with these.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Bring that background down.
All right. Yeah.
Michael Rhino, another crummy shot from him.
Uh-oh.
Clone all those birds, Michael.
So this was just last weekend, Cherry Creek State Park, and there wasn't much. I got there before sunrise, hoping for colors in the sky and that. There really wasn't that much color, so I had this camera shoots with it's a infrared conversion, so I shot with that, and as these geese were flying across, I just pushed the ISO up high enough to where I could try to get the shutter speed. I'm still a little bit slow probably for birds in flight, but I pushed the ISO up to, I guess, just like 500. And that's kind of the story, but I was just trying to create something interesting in the black and white. Did just the conversion of it to black and white in Nik Silver Effects Pro. Otherwise, not a whole lot else to it. But
How'd you get them all to stay in that nice straight line?
Yeah.
Yeah, at first I thought.
yeah, they
that
were.
was-
I
thought
there
that
were a
was
few
a
plots.
multiple exposure where the bird is flying and you caught it, 7 different ways. And then I noticed the ones all clumped behind the tree.
Right. Because that's a good point here is that in this shot, they are, is it a little bit distracting to have some of them that are in the tree, or I should say, just from the standpoint of, where the tree is in the background and they're, I do have one, although they were kind of more all towards the front of the tree, but where they were all above it. So I have that one also.
Yeah, that might be a little more
Yeah.
interesting. The only thing I say about this is since the grasses in the foreground are out of focus, you probably don't need as much of that.
Yeah. What I did was I darkened it. I did the filter or the, not the radial, but the other one. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
I'm not sure I'd crop it up that high because I actually like
Yeah.
the sense of place, but yeah, they're somewhere in there. I think it's not too bad, but
So I heard something interesting. It pertains to this interesting in a workshop I was listening to today, and it had to do with you should always have a front, middle, and back to your image. So I like the blurred grass because that gives me a front, a foreground, your middle with the trees, the sharp, the birds, and then that sky, towards the top kind of lends towards, a background as well as the mountains and stuff in the back. So kind of
Yeah,
reminded me
I
of
intentionally.
that comment today.
Yeah, I intentionally, I did have the tripod down at about, kind of the lower setting. So the camera was sitting about probably 2.5 feet or whatever above the ground. And I intentionally was trying to get some of those grasses in there, but to Dave's point, maybe I have a little bit more than needs to be there, just given that at f6.3, there was no way I could get that in focus and the tree in focus and all the stuff in the background. So I had to let soft. So it was the foreground.
Very nice.
I like it. I like the amount of grass, but that's me.
Well, we'll let Michael talk some more.
That's right.
Okay, that's good. Oh, I've got another one coming up.
That's yours, isn't it?
So it is. It's coming up double on my screen there. Is that, oh, there you go. Okay. So it's something that I don't do a whole lot of is people and portraits and so forth, but we had a friend who wanted me to take some photos over the other day and that. So the setting was just have again, the same Godox light up to the left, kind of 45-degree angle coming down. And I do have it fairly close to it. Again, it's probably about 3 feet. It's just to the point where it's out of the frame or whatever on that. So I had to kind of pull it away a little bit. And that's it. Processed, most of it was processed in Lightroom, but I did a little bit in Luminar. They have some portrait settings in that. So I did a little bit of the processing over there.
I like the way that the columns frame her.
Yeah, we were looking at that. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember from our PPA class, Michael, if her head is supposed to tilt to the left or not. I don't remember.
And
for, like,
I
the
have
seed
some
shape.
in different. Yeah. No, right. And I have some in different
Because I know
ways.
you've taken it. Yeah.
Yep. So I have some of them where the head's tilted in different ways. Some of them where it's straight and so forth and that. But this was one where she kind of like threw her head back or whatever. So I clicked, and maybe it's not the right pose technically from that standpoint, but
Yeah. It's okay. It's a great expression.
Yeah.
I really like the way it's framed.
Do you
Light
think?
was very nice too.
Do you think that maybe the background's a little bit too bright?
Yeah.
And yeah, I tried darkening some of that back there, especially like the white pieces and so forth. And that I went in and actually with like a luminosity mask dropped the whites, because when it first came out, those whites were pretty bright back in there.
Yeah.
But yeah. And to your point, I mean, I darkened some of the highlights back in there, but maybe there's more I can do with that, or maybe brighten her up a little bit further. Maybe that's the other side of it too.
Yeah, it just seems like the background just competes with her.
Mm-hmm.
To Elaine's point, I really like the framing of frame in a frame, but what's distracting for me is the secondary frame of that tan, or I'm sorry, orangey thing.
Yeah.
If you could have, I don't know, clone in more trees, maybe green or whatever the scrub is, and just
Right.
take away most of that orange so that it seems like it's more outdoorsy. And then I think that would really add, I mean, of course, that would take a lot of cloning work. But I like
So it's sort of where we were. I only had so much that I could work with, and was trying to find backgrounds that weren't too distracting. And as it was, I went, I guess, f5.6. So I was trying to make sure that the background was at least somewhat blurred, but yeah, I got you.
What's really great about this is you've caught emotion, and that's 90% what you're after. So it's fantastic.
Sure.
All right.
No, and thank you for the suggestions and that. I appreciate it.
This is Kathy's.
Yeah, what really caught my eye when I walked by the scene was the lines, the patterns from the light, from the grill work, and then the fact that the lady had this zebra top on, again, the black and the white. I just kind of, did I hit the mark right? Is it interesting enough? Is it too busy? And then the thing I debated about was the column on the right side. I liked that, again, there was a line from that column, but maybe it should be cropped in. Maybe I don't need it. Maybe there's too much on the right side.
Are the shoes cut off at the bottom? Oh, there we go.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it was just the screen.
So I like that column kind of anchors things from that side, but maybe I don't need it entirely.
I would just brighten up the couple. I would make them just a little bit brighter.
Oh, okay, because we did a little bit of that, but brighten them up.
Yeah, and in fact, what you could do is even do a fake light coming in from one side, lighten them up a little bit, and then pull some sort of a fake light coming in from the side, so that it looks like the light that's coming onto the background, causing the brilliant light on the door and those striped things. If you fake that same light is lighting them up,
okay,
that might be an interesting way to go.
Is it too busy with all the different lines?
I actually like those same lines across the top. I think they are interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's a
Turn
great.
that door down a little bit to not draw your eye away from the couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great like photojournalistic type image. A great street photography.
Yeah, because they didn't even look up, and I was fairly close to them, and I could, just take pictures, and they didn't notice me. So, yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Whoops, I went one too many. This is Jim Stonebox.
Yeah, so this was taken up in North Dakota, and Didn't do much on color or anything. It was all right there. Cloned out, there was a rope swing on the right side, so I kind of cloned that out, kind of balance it. And I kind of like the windbreak trees in the background, so it gives it kind of a good base.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
beautiful. That, yeah.
Is that leaning slightly higher on the right than on the left?
Yeah, looking at it now, it definitely, yeah, could be leveled. Yeah, that looks better.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah. Great colors.
Glittery.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
That must have been at Cherry Creek Reservoir, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's it.
Last week.
Yeah, last week. So this one, Iceland, of course, and then, but the mountains behind, the clouds are covering them, so I didn't really have the background. I love the colors, and I was trying to get the reflections, and I love that heart that I see in that one iceberg, but I couldn't really find a foreground, and so it still feels like it's missing something. I'm just not sure what else I can do to help with that not quite right or missing something kind of feel.
Well, I'm not sure if this does anything in the bottom corner.
Okay.
I mean, that's just me, and I know you don't want to lose that reflection, but and then maybe the sky come down a little bit, maybe more of a panel-y look. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I like the reflection, and I'm thinking maybe the reflection can serve as your foreground.
Okay.
Am I off?
Okay.
Is that?
Yeah, I think that does look better. Yeah, I was really bummed I couldn't bring out the mountains in the background more, but it's what we had that day.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that location. I was there June of 2019, and it's beautiful there. You got it, and this is great. I love the tones and those blues, and that is pretty.
Yeah, that's what I really love that. I'd never, of course, seen that before, and I did love that. And then that heart, like I just didn't know. I'm like, I love that heart, but it's like, how do I really kind of pull it all together?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Phil?
Yeah, it's pretty. It's nice.
Good job, Phil.
Wow.
Drone shot. The museum up in Denver. I can't think of the name of it for some reason.
Wings Over the Rockies.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
And I had actually gone up there because I had seen some posts of that B-52 had Christmas lights on it.
Oh.
Wrapped it in lights, but I didn't get there till a couple days after New Year's, and I think they'd turned them off. And it was just getting dark, so I figured I would just take a couple of shots. And I like the way it came out in black and white. I don't know, it's some effect in silver effects.
Yeah.
The only weird thing that bothers me is I don't know what happened to the sky up there on the top right, because it was in the raw file. So I don't know if the drone just had a problem over there, or
It's the filter from Silver Effects.
yeah, something something.
I've
No,
run into that.
Yeah, but if you look, like that part of the sky doesn't look like the rest of the sky. So I don't know if maybe it got corrupted on the import. I don't know, but I was trying to figure out what to do with
I've
that.
seen that with Silver Effects. Sometimes you put a too heavy of a thing and it does some weird stuff to the file when you bring it back.
No, but what I'm saying is on the raw file, that it's grainy like that. It's got no. So I don't know what happened to the actual image, but
The one thing I think you might think of, all these signs, phone those out. I mean, those white spots, I mean, everything else is okay.
Sure.
The car is fine. And
there's so much.
That draws me right to that.
Yeah.
And those would be a pretty easy. Yeah, that'd be an easy fix.
Like those guys out pretty easy.
Is there a building you were up in there?
This is drone.
I'm in the parking lot across the street flying my
It's the
drone.
drone. Okay, it's the drone. All
Oh.
right.
I need some drone help.
You too can do this for $2,000.
That's right. Phil, for competition purposes, I would do a stroke inside of this with black, like so that way your key line sits outside of it just a little bit because you lose it on the top.
Okay.
Oh yeah, good point. Thank you.
Okay. And Phil gets to talk some more, I think. Maybe this is yours.
Well, here's another drone shot. It's actually a solar panel field turned upside down.
Very cool.
That's awesome. That's
Patterns.
awesome.
Awesome patterns.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, that symmetry, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I you know, there's the more I look at this, I come up with 5 or 6 other things to do with it. So, you know, you could twirl them, you could clone them. I mean, I just like the pattern, and I liked it in black and white. You know, because the ground's kind of brown. There's not much going on in the
But
ground.
there, it definitely messes with your mind that way.
So
very cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Very nice.
Mark. Somebody's been busy taking pictures of old gas pumps.
Yeah.
Well, what's the price per gallon there? 3.
See, 33 cents, 36 cents, 32 cents, and I 0 cents. I'll take that one.
It's too bad Mark's not online because I mean, it's really interesting stuff. I'm unclear about why they have the red sides.
Yeah. Not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe just put that in there to like a border.
Well, are they? I mean, are they added in, or are they
Yes,
also
I was
added
wondering.
to each other?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they're put together. Very cool.
Yeah, it is neat.
Don Gardner, a painted one. Very nice.
Yeah, this was I was actually out at the arsenal looking for wildlife, but I drove by this and the light hit this tree in this field, and then 30 seconds later it was gone. So I really like that. And then so I've got just the image without the painterly look, and then I kind of played around with some effects in Photoshop to give it more of a painterly look, and I go back and forth as to which I like better, but the lighting on this is what really caught my eye, and it was gone quickly.
I really like it. I wonder, did you try it with like doing offsetting the tree a little bit? You know.
Yeah, I've got some different crop versions of this, so but not quite that offset, but I have cropped in a little in different versions of this.
I really like the way the painterly thing did the grass. I mean, the tones are all just really nice.
You know, if you're doing this kind of symmetry, Don,
Mm-hmm.
pull it down from the top so that your horizon line is exactly in the middle.
Mm.
And then your tree is exactly in the middle. I mean, this works like this, but I don't, where the white clouds are, you can take it or leave it. But if you crop down so that that horizon line is exactly in the middle, then that might add to the.
Yeah, so it's symmetrical top and bottom and left and right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think the lighter grasses in the front, I would pull that bottom line up and use those little tufts of yellow grass to lead you through. Nope, go down, Bruce.
Yeah, not quite that much.
Too much. Down, 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 down a little bit more, right around there. And then you've got like that yellow spot on the left leads you to the yellow spot on the right, kind of bringing you to the tree.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Personal opinions.
yeah.
We all have them.
No, I agree.
I mean, all of those all of those crops. Did you say this was done in, you use the effects in Photoshop, or was this like Topaz or?
No, actually, it was Photoshop. I was playing around with some effects in Photoshop.
Yeah, Photoshop has a new, in their filters,
Right, that's what it was, filters.
there's a.
Yeah, the painterly
It's-
effect.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it really is with that tree and the way that those weeds are down there. It really looks neat.
Yeah, it looks
What's
like a
really
painting.
interesting about that new filter is that you can actually make it, 2% up to 100%, and then it puts out a mask so that you can take that mask and then you can do, like overlay effects, or you can use the different types of blending modes. So they've really done a nice job with that kind of filter. It's pretty cool.
Okay, yeah, I haven't played with that. That you did a really good job with that one.
So Larry says his laptop doesn't have a mic or camera, but he says this scene reminds him of the LP covers from the 60s, usually featuring easy listening or light classical music. This could be a book cover, added text for title and author and center, or the motivational poster with 4 or 6 line poem or quote. It is true. It's very peaceful looking.
Yeah.
It's a little blown out here on my speaker. I don't know if you guys can see there's a little red there. It's just a little blown out there. The highlights.
Yeah.
Yes, barely. Very nice.
Okay, you PPA people, what's with the framing? Is this like coming back into vogue or what?
Oh yeah, it's mandatory for those.
It's required. It's
Yeah.
called, they call it presentation. And I think it harkens back to days of, actual prints when you sent in a physical print with padding on it. And that was judged as part of the overall image.
Yeah.
But your score does go down if you don't add that type of a thing to it.
I started adding to mine for a competition night, and you probably, it helps. I mean, it does separate your image. It makes it present better. And it's easy to do, so.
Although I was keeping track of which images won, and they didn't universally have a stroke or frame around them, so I didn't know if this was coming into vogue or just because our members lately have been doing that course.
I thought some of the judges were actually against it or critical of it. They want a kind of a pure presentation.
Yeah, it seems some judges like the frame and then some others didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can speak on behalf of a couple of judges. Troy Miller, who judged one of ours, he's a really big fan of those, and Frederick Van Johnson, who was another one of our judges. He's not necessarily, he won't criticize them, but he's not going to give them extra points for having those.
Unfortunately, another Mark Feldman one, but this is pretty cool.
That is cool.
I'll tell you what.
Very cool.
If you want to take pictures like this, go out and buy all the light bulbs you can find, because they're getting hard to find. Because LEDs replaced a lot of them. The regular incandescents are gone.
Yeah.
Very hard to find. I like that.
That is a neat idea, that one. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
What's really interesting to me is the reflection in the egg, because it almost looks like a outdoor, landscape, something or another.
Very cool.
Maybe, but it's cool.
Phil. We still
Double
looking
drone
at
shot.
Wall doing this one or what?
So this one is a little bit different angle. I just thought I like the shadows under the panels, and I just tilted it a little bit to just add a little interest to it.
I don't know about the rest of you, but it creates an optical illusion with the lower left-hand corner looks skewed. I mean, on the black frame, as you look at it. I mean, no, it's not, but it looks like it's angled up. Like it's wider at the bottom here than it is here. But I know it's not. But
Oh, yeah, it's an optical illusion.
it's an
Yeah.
optical illusion. It's driving
Yeah.
me nuts.
I totally see that.
Yeah. Very cool.
Thanks. It was fun. Something different.
Ray.
Yeah, this was a shot that I took over at the Arsenal right around sundown, and the light was just starting to illuminate the top of those willows.
I like the reflection. It's really cool.
And that light is in that right place. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that light's really pretty.
What were your settings for this on your camera?
200 of a second, f9, ISO.
Yeah, 100, and I was using long lens. I mean, I was just driving by, and I just happened to see there was this egret, and then there was a couple of avocets that were in this pond. And I've driven by there dozens of times since, and all the water that was there has evaporated.
I even think the top part alone would be a beautiful image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the reflection?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the colors are great.
Yeah, it would work either way. I mean, it works great like this, but it could work also without. Yeah.
Did you add the reflection?
That's natural. You can tell by the water.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, in Photoshop, you can make things blurred with a motion blur or a, overlay.
Now that's
I was looking-
natural. That was the.
Yeah, I was looking at sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was looking at the green stuff on the water, and that's on the reflection.
Yeah, right.
To me, that made it look realistic.
Yeah.
I like that you have texture throughout the whole bird in the white. There's nothing really blown out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to really make the bird pop, darken around it to where it would really stand out.
You did a good job.
It looks
Thank you.
cool.
It's a beautiful bird.
Yep. Sherry.
Yeah, so this was Eagle Falls in Kentucky. Yeah, just looking for if there's any, it was one of my favorite hikes, but anyway, when I was there, I just kind of stumbled on it, I guess, if you will. But yeah, just any kind of feedback would be great.
I don't know if you guys can see it on, well, you may not be, but in my screen, this is red. So it's blown out a little bit. The water's blown out a little bit here. I don't know if you can pull back.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
see that.
I can see it.
Pull your
But I don't think
highlights.
that's necessarily bad in this one.
No, in water like this, sometimes a little bit like that is okay to let go. A little bit blown out, I think.
It's only
I
on
would-
-4 if to take it out. So it's
Yeah.
minor.
I would try putting in a graduated filter coming from the right to the left to kind of darken up the right side just a hair.
Ah,
So that your focus really lands on the waterfall.
okay. I have not thought of that. I have done a crop where it's a vertical crop and it's, and I cut the whole right side off, but I didn't think of the graduated filter.
Is there a vignette on this at all?
I don't think I have one on this
The
one.
corner looks pretty bright. The corners look bright. I didn't think so.
Yeah. So you could either do the graduated filter or you could do a radial filter where you don't change the waterfall, you do the invert. And so you darken the outside of the radial filter that's on the waterfall so
Okay,
that you leave the waterfall intact. You could go either route with it.
okay.
Yeah, I think if you darkened up those rocks kind of in the bottom right hand, the bottom,
Mhm.
that might help draw your eye a little more to that waterfall.
Okay.
You know, it's interesting about, you said, you know, the bright white is blown out. It's funny, of course, I'm old and, and things used to be judged different ways, but especially on black and whites where you would blow out the whites, it was never really frowned upon because what you would do is get a beautiful piece of paper with great grain, and where it was completely white, you would see the paper 100%, and it just added to the whole composition. Where we used to get in trouble is if you had a pile of black and it was trying to put a bunch of ink in it, but the whites never were a problem in years past. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the long exposure on this too with a.
Yeah, it's
oh,
beautiful.
mhm.
This,
Yeah, real pretty scene.
oh, this
Thank
is one of Dick York's. So
He's not here tonight.
yeah, he's not here to chat. So. All right.
This seems kind of busy with the tree in front.
Yeah, it's a busy with the stripes and the tree, and then you got a wood, the picket fence. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, that's St. Augustine, and there's some really
Yep.
clear, like that tree isn't, you can walk right up to that picket fence. So he's purposely trying to shoot through that tree for this effect, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
I think I'd like to see the black stripes a little bit darker though. I mean, I know they're supposed to be black and white and they look more of a gray, like a dark gray.
Yeah, I agree.
So darken those blacks on there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is Michael's.
So yeah, so this is one of mine. So this was I guess yeah, I guess I did crop it there. So this was from not too far from probably where Ray took that shot of the fireworks that we saw earlier. And what I did here, this was with that infrared camera, so it kind of treats light a little bit differently. And then I intentionally darkened the buildings down and took all of the detail out of that, with the exception of that, I guess it's the cash register building, the one that's kind of right where the light is hitting. And I intentionally silhouetted all of the other stuff. So that's kind of the story on that one.
I think it's cool and it has a lot of impact there. I don't know if it's my screen, but it looks like I see banding in the sky.
Yeah, there's some banding a little bit up in here.
And sometimes on my infrared ones, I notice that it does a little bit of that. So I don't know if that's that or part of the process. I mean, I process it in Silver FX Pro, but I don't know if that's a part of that or not.
It could be. I've noticed that with Luminar and with Silver Effects and some of them, something happens in that process bringing them back. And
Yeah.
It happened to the higher res files, like with my D800 stuff. Sometimes I would get weird artifacts, and my wife with her D750, she would never have a problem with that. So I don't know if it's just whatever.
So I had another camera with me and I took some in color. And so what I'll do is I'll go back and take a look and see if in my color ones, if those clouds had that shape and if that was kind of natural or if that is a banding effect.
Yeah, if you got a problem or something. That's pretty cool. I like it. This is Jim's.
Yeah. Sunflower, obviously. To me, you kind of get trapped in the middle with that pattern, almost kind of disorienting.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so.
Clone that bug out.
This one here?
Yep.
Yep.
You can almost crop in really tight because this pattern in the center is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really cool. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be a good abstract.
Yeah. a little bit of green in the very center of it really is neat too.
Well, and you've got this, it's like circular patterns going through it, you know, like this.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Very cool. This is Don Gardner's.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. This is Northern Ireland, the Giant's Causeway. But before you actually get to those, there's a path that you walk before you actually get to what everybody's familiar with, those graduated steps, or I forgot what you call them. But this is a little bit before that, so it's a little different area than people usually see in that particular area. I don't know if I got much more to say about it. But
Well,
Those rocks are pretty awesome.
Yeah, and you got some foreground with that and with this. And the bird kind of adds some scale. Pretty cool. It looks straight.
Yeah, real good detail throughout, all the way from front to back. You didn't have to do any like focus stacking or anything like that? Was that just like a tight aperture?
that was just a tight aperture and handheld, if I remember. I don't think I even had the tripod out at that point.
Does anybody have an opinion about the bird in that it's just one? Because if I see just one bird, it almost looks like a dust spot in many things. So I'll either clone it out or add more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And I,
can do 2 or 3 birds, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying. And I don't know if the bird needs to be a little bit larger, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the thought is on that. I see what you're saying, but yeah.
I'd like to see a little more color too. There's just so much color in there.
So a little more vibrance, or
yeah, it's just beautiful.
Oops, maybe a little too much, huh?
Yeah, you'd probably have to, I mean, you would want to me, you would want to impact the foreground and not the sky, because the sky seems really dramatic as it is. Yeah. And I like the sky, so I wouldn't change the sky. If you're going to add some impact with either texture or vibrance or something like that, I would definitely want it to just affect the foreground.
The bird's
Maybe the
gone.
rock.
You're right, the bird is distracting you.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Tom's not here. More clouds.
Wow.
It's
Can we all
good.
just borrow that as a sky replacement?
Yeah.
Well, we can do this with it. Kind of cool. You could go either way. Wow. Cool color.
His yellows are really bright though.
Yeah. This cloud is just.
But they're cool.
It's pretty amazing.
And if you like, again, if you look at this cloud, it looks like it's dumping something out, like a spoon, dumping something out. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, the shapes are just, the shapes are amazing, and the colors. Yeah.
Or it's a big vacuum.
Yeah, big vacuum.
Yeah. Very cool.
Phil.
Yeah. When you get those lenticular clouds with that kind of color on them, they really are neat. The shapes.
So this one looks, is that full picture?
Yeah, that's double check. Yeah,
It has a
full frame.
It has a frame around it. It has a mat on it. I'm not sure what
It does. It's not, unless it's blended in or something. Let me see something here.
It's definitely different color than it was on my.
Oh, I see the frame now. I can see the frame on the grid.
Yeah.
The black line, but for some reason on full frame it doesn't. Yeah, you can kind of see. I can see it on my screen, but it's very dark. I see the line.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is it's not that dark. I don't know, maybe my monitor needs another calibration, but it has a mat with a. I can barely see the stroke too.
Yeah, I can barely see it too.
Anyway, it's San Diego.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet.
Now I can see it. I don't know why I can see it. Maybe it takes.
Take-
Yeah, just down there out over the holiday, and they have all kinds of lights and stuff going on. So sat down on a tripod and took a shot.
Pretty.
Oops, let's see here.
Beautiful colors.
Yeah, there was a lot going on, and I did very little to add a little bit of saturation to that water. It was actually almost pretty much like that.
It's
Yeah,
probably a
I'll
little
have to do
nicer
something.
standing outside at night taking pictures in San Diego than it is here, huh?
Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do something with that frame though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't see that.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
nice.
I'm not sure I've ever taken a photo at night there, and the screwdriver buildings look really like you can see one of them, like the hex head one, but the other one, the flathead, it's not as obvious.
Is that the one to the right?
See, I'm not, well, yeah, that one right there, that looks like a,
Like
the
Phillips, like Phillips.
Phillips head screwdriver, and then the other one's a flathead screwdriver. But at night, it doesn't really stand out as much. It's really curious.
Is there a lot of, would it work to crop that down a little from the top? Is there just a lot of dark?
Yeah, that's a good point too. I don't really need
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, it might have been a little too much, but.
You could
Yeah.
probably.
Are those rocks in the lower left?
Yeah,
probably-
yeah, it's a little brighter in well, I don't want to say in real life, but on my computer, you can see you can see detail in the bottom. So, and obviously you can see the frame, but it's a little dark on coming through here. But yeah, you can see those are rocks bottom left.
Yeah, I figured if you included them, then there was probably detail that we just couldn't see.
So pretty. There's a lot.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very pretty at night.
Peter.
That's a shot that I took probably, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I went up to Rocky Mountain National Park and was just looking to do some early morning mountain photography, see what I could capture for interesting details. And this was just a scene that everywhere I looked on that mountain just had these really cool details, just a lot of stuff jumped out. So figured I'd have to grab a shot of it. I'm not super thrilled with the way I processed it, but it's just okay.
I like it.
I like it. I like this line around the snow. It's almost 3D. It's very cool.
That's what I liked about the scene was it was very contrasty between the shadow of that dark ridge and the light hitting the mountain. It's Mount Taylor, Taylor Mountain that's right behind it.
Just,
I mean,
I was gonna say, just for grins, you might want to try a sky replacement.
Yeah,
or make it black.
I go back and forth on sky replacements.
Yeah.
Part of me is that's not what I saw, so I'm just not into. I took the shot for myself and I kind of liked it, so I'm sticking with the blue sky.
Well, you've got a lot of range from
Yeah,
black to white in there, so.
And I've got lots of detail.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, Peter, I love that. That dimensionality, that the shadows and the front. And I'm with you. I have kind of gravitated towards staying away from sky replacements on mine too. But kind of wanting to kind of stick with what I saw when I was there. But I think in this one here, I don't think it need. I mean, I understand you could put some clouds in that and kind of make it interesting. But I like it just there. But I think just naturally, just the way the shadows, the way the light's hitting certain parts of it, the way it's not hitting other parts of it, I really like that.
Yeah, you got kind of the black, white, and gray.
Very cool.
I totally dig the mountain. Totally seeing the light on the mountain is fantastic. I wonder if you could just, for me, play up the contrast just on the mountain that has snow, not the whole image, just that, to really kind of make it pop that much more.
Yeah, that's probably,
Or maybe
I
oh, go ahead.
could definitely increase that.
With like luminosity.
And if you could darken that gray sky just a hair, that'd be really nice.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but
Oh, no,
Yeah,
it
I
wouldn't be
don't think it needs
hard
it,
to
but
do.
but with luminosity masks, you can kind of do that where you really isolate just certain sections of it and change the contrast of
Yeah.
it. But to me, this one, it doesn't necessarily need that, but it would be interesting to see what that would bring out too.
So if you just, on the colored image, darken down the blue so that it's almost a weird color, and then made the conversion to black and white, then you'd have an Ansel Adams black sky.
oh,
If
okay.
you wanted it that way.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
it's interesting about the clouds. I had a buddy who just traveled to Venice. Well, it was just before 2020, and he has a couple of photos that are just beautiful as far as the light coming in, but the sky is just dead. And we were sitting around talking a little bit, and he said, well, I'm not going to spend $10,000 to fly back to Venice. Why don't I just replace the sky? Because after all, this isn't documentary work. We're dealing with art, not photojournalism. So it's interesting, that argument back and forth.
Hey guys, Larry has a comment.
It is. I get what you're saying too.
Larry's.
I agree with Larry's comment. Taking that bottom light section out and just have it be mostly just a black bottom. I totally agree with that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that one little highlight.
Yep. We can make that go away.
That's pretty cool.
All right, I'm moving on. This is Sherry's.
Yeah, so it looks like it's more blown out than I thought it was. I knew it was a little bit, but yeah, I was kind of struggling. The scene was a little harder than I was thinking, and that was just because of I wanted the long exposure for the lights, and there weren't very many cars that were going to the mountains, and so I had to have it, really long, but then it was kind of blowing out other parts, and so I just wasn't really sure if there's really anything else I could do with that, or just keep going and maybe at different times and days, of course, as far as to get more even cars, but.
Where did that car on the left go to?
Right.
I know, right? I wonder if that's true.
You could probably take the clone tool and clone these red lines just down. I mean,
I would just shoot it again.
Yeah, or shoot
I shot this summer, and I just took multiple exposures and combined two pictures on the right. And then you got a lot of,
The mountains and the sky are beautiful.
Yeah, the sky is gorgeous.
Yeah,
You could try just taking the highlights down a hair and see if that fixes some of it.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if it was like distracting to have, because there were other shots where the red lights were continuous, but then it had the people that were exiting, so it had the lines going out, and so I'm like, oh, I didn't know if it was worth trying to remove those. Like there's on this one, there's one off to the right for the people coming towards the white lights, but or not.
You could also use an ND filter.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
ND filter would allow you to make longer exposures.
Yeah.
So,
just bracket it and throw them together. That's my biggest comment is that I might lose some of the mile markers and traffic signs on the right-hand side. They're just sticking out like a sore thumb all the way down.
That was one of my questions too, is what to do with all of those. I think I removed some that were in the middle. Okay, so move more of those.
It's still going on.
So get there early, get a bunch of big black trash bags and cover all the signs.
Right?
Take your picture, and then go take your bags down. And
I'm sure Colorado State Patrol would appreciate that, Bruce.
Please stop.
They would love
Pick up trash.
It's
I'm
9
storing my
o'clock.
bag so I can pick up trash tomorrow.
That's funny.
In Photoshop, those will come out pretty easily. I think you'll be able to pull those out there. But beautiful sky, beautiful scene. And I like the shadows back there in the mountains too, or the layers that you see in the mountains. I really like that.
Thank you. Yeah, I really love that.
Well, that's the last one. It's 9 o'clock. So Michael, if you got anything else to say or do, or
Yeah, I didn't have anything else on the agenda tonight, unless if anybody else has anything. I just wanted to say, again, thank you everybody for great submissions. And I also really enjoy the comments on, I learned from these events, these exhibition nights, as much as I do on the competition nights, just as far as, we had a great group of people with great comments that helped me, like I say, just not only on my images, but on some of the other ones in that. And it helps me next time I go out in the field and take images, or it's my processing and whatever and so forth. I think these meetings are real valuable. So appreciate everybody's contributions and also the feedback tonight. I thought it was really great.
all right, everybody.
Thank you.
Have
Thank
a good
you.
evening.
Good stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Great.
everyone.
Good night.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.
Care.